Welcome to Melber's Weird and Wonderful. Today I'll show you how I made this beautiful shiny resin cup with fish scales. I put out at least one new video every week, so please subscribe and thanks so much for watching. Alright, so today we're going to make a koi fish tumbler or a scaled tumbler. So what I'm going to use for that is a temporary tattoo. It's got koi fish on it. I love koi fish and I have koi fish. That's why I picked this one. And then we're going to use iridescent mix from Recollections. This is really quite pretty. It kind of reminds me of fish scales, which is why I chose this one. And we're going to need a white prime tumbler. You can just prime a tumbler with white primer. And we're going to need a 2-part epoxy. Any kind of epoxy will do. I'm just using the Craft Smart epoxy. It seems to work fine for this. But any epoxy you have will work just fine. So we're going to start out with mixing about 15 ml epoxy, just enough to cover the tumbler. Or you can do spray adhesive, or however you like to put your glitter onto your tumbler. I'm going to do the epoxy method. It just seems to work fine for me, and it's quick and easy. And I'll be back when I'm at the turner. Alright, so we're at the turner, and we're just going to add our epoxy directly to the tumbler and try to get this as even as possible. And you want a thin of coat as possible as well. You don't need a thick coat of epoxy. You just want enough so your glitter sticks to the tumbler. You don't want it so much that the glitter drips. Alright, and now we're going to add our glitter. Alright, so that's my layer of glitter. And if you want to add some mica powder or something to this at the same time, you can. I'm just going to reclaim my glitter here and then put it back in the container. And if you want, you can just do another coat of this on top if you think you're missing any spots, which I may do here. So I'm going to let this cure overnight, and then I will come back and we're going to put another coat of epoxy on top of this. And if your glitter is sticking up, you can pat it down with a gloved hand as long as it's not going to stick to you, or you can push it down with a piece of parchment paper as well. That will also work if your glitter is too chunky and it tends to be sticking up. Otherwise, when you go to re-epoxy this, you're going to have bumps in your epoxy, which you can sand off. It's not a huge deal. But if you're concerned about the glitter sticking up, that is one solution for it. You can just pat it down with a gloved hand or use a piece of parchment. Alright, so I will be back tomorrow to put another coat of resin on this. Alright, so we've let our cup cure overnight, and now we're going to add our next layer of resin. I've mixed up 15 mil of the epoxy resin, and I'm just going to coat the cup with it, and then I'm going to let it cure overnight again. So I'm not going to film this, I'm just going to cover the cup, and then I'll be back tomorrow after it's cured. Alright, so we've got our epoxy on our cup. Looks really pretty. Actually, even if you want to just leave the cup like this, it looks beautiful, but we are going to add our tattoo to the cup. So here's the tattoo. It's really quite cute. Now, the tattoo is a little too long on these cups, so we are going to have to trim it a little bit. So what I do is I just line it up and then see how much I need to cut off. You could actually just wrap it underneath the cup. We could try that. I am going to trim off a little bit of the top here. Let's see here. Let's take a look here. All right, I think that's going to be pretty good. So with these tattoos, you just wet them with some water. You lay them down and then wet them down. The trick is to get them super duper smooth, otherwise you end up with little creases in them, which can be hard to do, but we're gonna do our best here. I am not the best at this. Actually, I'm gonna try to put this on the bottom here. This may not work out, but let's give it a whirl. All right, so we're going to add our tattoo. Peel this off. And line this up here. Try to get it as smooth as possible right off the get-go. If I can manage to do this without messing it up. Nope, it's down already. That's it. Be careful when you stick them down, because that's it. Okay, now we're going to wet it. Try to get this as smooth as you can. Mine's already got a few wrinkles in it, but it should be fine, hopefully. Once you put that sucker down, it's usually down, and there's not too much changing you can do. Alright, this is not very smooth, but let's see if we've got it peeling off. Not too terrible. You can smooth out the wrinkles a little bit. Just be careful that you don't tear your tattoo. So not too bad. I like it. I think it's really pretty. So what we're going to do now is let this dry, and then we're going to put another coat of epoxy on top of it to seal in the tattoo, and then we're going to be done. All right, so I've mixed up about 20 ml of epoxy resin, and I'm just going to recoat the cup, including the tattoo, to seal it in. All right, so I'm just going to finish covering this, and then I'm going to let this cure for 24 hours. I may need to sand it a little bit. I've noticed I've just got a couple little high spots, and then should be ready to go. I'll be back. And here is our finished tumbler. I think it turned out very beautiful. What I was trying to accomplish was that you could see the glitter underneath, so it kind of looked like fish scales, and I think it really does. It really doesn't do it justice in the camera here, but it's very, very pretty. And if you don't want to do it with the decal, you can just do it without and just have a glitter tumbler, but I think it looks pretty nice with the decal on top of it. Thanks so much for watching. I do at least one new video every week, so please do subscribe. It really does help. Thanks for watching.